Well, good morning. It is good to see everybody today on day number 17 of our journey through Lent. I pray that your weekend went well and that it was just a wonderful time of spending time with family or going to church yesterday or whatever you did this weekend. I hope that it was just a great weekend. But today we are diving right back into another one of these words that are connected to Jesus, and it's been a pretty exciting journey. I appreciate all the feedback that I've received about these videos, a lot of the positive remarks as well, on how they are helping each one of us come to know Jesus better. And each one of these words are very unique, and yet each one of these words are very connected. Like I said yesterday or on Saturday's video, it's a little bit of repetitive, it feels like at times, and so I can see all these connection points, and it's not because the words themselves are necessarily repetitive. It's just they're all found in Jesus. And so I think that's probably why no one's ever done this before, or maybe 40 videos on 40 different names. And so this is a pretty ambitious challenge to keep going through this, but I think it's been helpful, and I've been hearing a lot of positive things from each one of you, and I know it's been helpful for my own spiritual growth as well. Well, today we are looking at this next word that is connected to Jesus, pretty famous one, but it is the word I am, or the two words I am, where Jesus is talking with his disciples. Now let me pull this back up. On the title slide, when you saw the word I am, I actually put the Hebrew for I am there, and the Hebrew for I am is Yahweh. And so I am, essentially, it's Jesus saying I'm Yahweh, and Yahweh is God. And as you can tell kind of by the Hebrew letters there is no vowels in Yahweh when it's spelled out in the original Hebrew Bible. It's YHWH, and so you kind of can see how repetitive that looks like there. And you're probably wondering, okay, so where are we getting this verse from? Well, it actually comes from Jesus himself. He calls himself Yahweh in John chapter 8, verse 58. Jesus said to them, and he's talking to a group of people here, and he's basically saying to them, truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. I am Yahweh. Now, we don't really realize how crazy of a comment this was, because again, we live on this side of the cross. Most of us probably listening to this video or watching this video are Gentiles. We're not Jewish. We don't have any Jewish heritage. And yet, when Jesus said this would have been a profound statement. And now where is Jesus pulling this from when he says, truly I say to you, before Abraham was, I am? Well, he's actually pulling this from Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, when basically in that chapter, God is speaking to Moses. He gets Moses to come up to this mountain, and he talks to Moses through the burning bush. And this is what God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And so when Jesus is making reference to his name being I am, he is certainly making reference to saying that I am God. I am God. And so that's a profound statement. And for the Jews, that would have been blasphemous. That's why eventually it leads to Jesus being hated by the Jews, because to them, they couldn't see how he was the Messiah. It was only for the small group of people that just kept on saying, oh, he's the Messiah, he's the Messiah. And then you had 12 followers saying that he was the Messiah. And it was only just a small group of people of the 12 and maybe the 70 and maybe a larger group than that was following around believing that Jesus was the Messiah. He was I am. And yet it was a profound statement. Now, I guess the question that this raises, of course, is, well, then why if Jesus is saying he's God, Jesus is saying he's Yahweh, if he's saying I am, then why does God become flesh? Because truly this video is based upon the incarnation of Jesus. I mean, that's essentially what doctrine we are looking at here, and that's what we celebrate when it comes to Christmas, like that God himself came to each one of us in the flesh. Well, here's 4 reasons why did God become flesh? Why did Jesus, being God, come into creation for each one of us? Well, the first reason is pretty obvious. He came to reveal God to humanity. I mean, like in John 14:9, remember whenever he said that whoever has seen me has seen the Father. Well, this is just a way that God himself can reveal himself to humanity, that through Jesus, people truly can see God and see who he is. And so that's the first thing there, that on why this is such a important thing to understand. The second thing would be to be the perfect mediator for mankind. I mean, it's not only to reveal God to humanity, but also to provide a way out of the mess that they are in. And so Jesus becomes the way, the truth, and the life, and he is the man that ultimately stands between us and God, because he becomes the bridge for reconciling us back to God. And so that's a lot of deep theological things there. And so that's what this word I am truly represents and means as well. The next thing would be, of course, like I just said, to save us from our sin. And so Jesus himself, being I am, being God, he could take on the sin of the world. Like if he was just man, he couldn't do it. But because he is God, he could take on the sin of the world, past, present, future sins of all of us, of all mankind, of everyone who has ever lived, and put it on his shoulder and go to the cross and die for those sins. He provided a way. And that's essentially why it is important to see this title of Jesus, how Jesus was, I am. And then finally, probably one that is maybe not talked about as much, maybe in certain circles, but it is meant to show us how to live. Jesus lived the perfect life. And, in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21, we are called to imitate that perfect life. And so Jesus becomes an example on how we can live by. And the reason why he can give us the example is because he was what? Sinless. He was perfect. He was God. He was the I am. And, these 4 things here, no other religion comes close to being able to provide for people. You want to know what's unique about Christianity more than any other thing? Well, there's a lot of things, but just off the top of my head, I would probably start with the incarnation. I mean, and then the fact that Jesus himself willingly went to the cross. Those types of things are not found in any other religion. Every other religion, it's a list of do's and don'ts. It's a list of things that you have to do yourself to overcome. And so this idea that Jesus is the I am is a pretty profound idea, and brings a lot of important things for us to think about. Now, on a personal note, on an application note, what does it mean for us today that Jesus is the I am? Not only those 4 things, but I think if I were to answer that question, and I'm just pondering it right now, actually, I would say that probably the most profound thing is the fact that we have the opportunity to be connected to the creator of the universe. Like God himself gave us a way for us to be connected back to him. I mean, he created each one of us. He knitted us together in our mother's wombs. He set creation into motion. And even when Adam and Eve failed and screwed up, he then provided a way for us through that sin and through the sinful world that we were born into. He provided a way. And it's all because Jesus is the I am. And I think like that should give us so much comfort. We should all sleep better tonight, really, if we think about that. And I'm not saying it's easier to sleep sometimes, because there are certain anxieties that we all deal with that are hard to deal with. But here, knowing Jesus is the I am, that he is God, he's Yahweh, and he provided a way for us. He revealed God to us. He is the perfect mediator between us and God. He saved us from our sins, and he shows us how to live. Those are profound things that we could apply to our life today. I want you to think about that today and spend time in prayer thinking about that. And I would love to hear some of your answers. You can always email me at mark@hallarc.com if you have any questions about any of this stuff. I know this kind of video feels a little more like a teaching, and maybe it is, but I think it's a profound thing to think about, like how Jesus is the I am. So anyway, God bless. Day number 17 is in the books. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I hope that this video, like all the others, has been encouraging and helps you grow in your faith and your relationship with the Lord. So God bless, and we'll see you again tomorrow for day number 18.